Hello and welcome to this week's Start to Finish Sunday video. Today I'm going to be making a 4 1/4 square card, and I'm using the Tea for Two designer paper as sort of my inspiration behind this card. And I'm going to also be using the Pinwheel Sizzlet. I hope you can kind of see what that looks like. This is available in the spring catalog right now, and I'm going to show you some tips for using this die. So first things first, let me show you the pieces that I've prepped. This is my card base. It is in crumb cake, and it measures 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4, so it's a 4 1/4 square. Then I have a little piece of the text paper from the Tea for Two designer paper collection. It's this cool chevron stripe on the back, and this measures 3 1/4 squared, and that is just going to go right in the center of my card, just like that. This is another piece of the Tea for Two designer paper. This measures 1 inch wide, and we're going to cut it down to the size of the card. And then this is a piece of Lucky Limeade that measures 1.5 inches wide, and this is going to be cut to fit as well. And I'm actually going to start off by punching this piece with a border punch. So this is the scallop border edge punch. And I'm just going to punch this all along one edge of this cardstock. Now I just want to adhere my text print designer paper. This is going to be centered on the card base. And now this is when I want to kind of decide where this is going to go. I think right about there looks good. So I'll just grab my scissors and just very roughly trim this off. Now I'm going to adhere this piece to my green piece, Lucky Limeade cardstock here. And now I'm just going to take this to my paper cutter and just trim off this extra little bit on the bottom. Okay, now this is going to be adhered along the bottom of my card. Just like that, and then I'll trim off the excess. So now that my card base is all set, I want to start working on my embellishments. And the first thing we're going to do is use the die to create the pinwheel. I have another piece of the Tea for Two designer paper, and this measures 2 by 2, and I'm going to be using this So Saffron pattern here. So you want to take your die, and whichever pattern is the one that you want to be on the outside, you're going to face down. Now, because this is a pinwheel, you will be able to see a little bit of the backside pattern when we fold it up. But you want to put the side that you're choosing face down. Okay, so I decided to actually bring my Big Shot onto the camera because I want to show you, if you're not familiar with the sandwich for these types of dies. This is a Sizzlet. You'll also see something called a Clearlit that looks like this, but it has clear plastic so you can see through it. They're kind of the same thing. So I've got this on tab 1, and then I'm going to place my clear cutting pad on top. Then the die with the cutting side, which means where you can see the design, that's going to be face up. Then my paper on top. And then my cutting pad over top of that. And then I'm going to run this through my Big Shot. So this is how that pinwheel die comes out after you have die cut it, and you'll see on here there's these 4 holes and then a hole in the center. And I think the idea behind that is you can just kind of gather up all these points onto one brad and then stick the brad right through the center, and you'll have your pinwheel. But I have found every single time I've tried to do that, that at least one of these, by the time I get to, you know, the third or the fourth one, this little tip rips off. So let me show you what I have found is an easier way to put this together. So I'm going to turn it over so that I have the quote-unquote wrong side showing, although you will be able to see this a little bit. Because of just the nature of how a pinwheel is. And I'm going to use glue dots to put this together. So I'm going to take my glue dots and just kind of scoop one of them up with my paper piercing tool. See that? And then I'm just going to place that glue dot in the center. Take the first corner, and I'm using the corners that have the holes in them to help me make sure I'm using the right ones. And I'm just going to fold that over, you know, kind of without creasing it, and press it into the glue dot. And then I'll just repeat that process. I'll pick up my next glue dot, place it down into the center, pick up the next corner, and try to kind of line up those dots again. And this is going to make the center a little bit bulky, but it'll stay together quite nicely. Now, if you happen to have a powerful hole punch, or if you want to try to stick your paper piercer through that, you can certainly try. I have not tried that myself. I don't know how well that would work. But, you know, to put a brad in the center. I find I just like to put a button or a rhinestone or something like that. Or if you do want to put a brad, you can also take some really sharp scissors. The craft and rubber scissors that Stampin' Up! Sells would be great. And just cut off the legs of the brad and use glue dots to stick the top of the brad into the center. So there's our cute little pinwheel. And let's go ahead and put this on our card and finish up the rest of our embellishments. Okay, so I've got my card base, and this pinwheel is going to go kind of right there, right about there. And I'm going to use some toothpicks. One of them is going to create a little, whoops, little stem for our pinwheel, just like that. And then I've got two more, and I'm going to use these to create some little flags to go in kind of a little cute little trio with the pinwheel. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. This is the washi tape from the This and That collection, and I'm going to use the Calypso Coral Hexagon and the gray stripe to create some little banners. So I'm just going to take a piece off the roll. And this is, you know, you don't have to worry too much about the size. You can trim this down. So I'm just going to place that down on my mat. Put the toothpick in the center, and we'll trim that pointy bit off the top. Just stick that down, and now I'm going to fold it over, and I'm trying to be careful to line up the edges the best that I can. Okay, just like that. And then I'll trim off the top of my toothpick. And now I'm just going to trim my little banner. Isn't that so cute? You have this little super simple washi tape flag. Now you could make these. This would be so cute as like cake decorations or cupcake toppers. Super simple, super quick, so cute. So I'm going to make another one of these with the Calypso Coral tape. This one I want to trim down like that. Then I'm going to come in and cut a little banner end in it. just like that. Isn't that so super cute? So these are gonna go, I'm not quite sure how yet, but these are gonna get placed down onto my card with the little pinwheel. But first let's work on the sentiment. This is the Wishes Your Way sentiment set, and this is also from the spring catalog, and it is designed kind of to coordinate with the pinwheel die, but it's got some fun sentiments as well, some more everyday sentiments. And I'm going to use this one here, Blowing Wishes Your Way. I think that's really super cute with the pinwheel. This is a little strip of Whisper White cardstock that measures about 3/8 of an inch wide, and I'm using my basic gray ink. I've already got my sentiment prepped on my Stamp-A-Majig imaging sheet, and I'll just get that lined up. And got my stamp. And stamp that down. And now I'm just going to, whoops, going to trim off the end a little bit and create a little banner end. Okay, now we just need to put our card together. So I think the first thing I want to do is adhere my toothpick to the back of my pinwheel. I'm going to actually have my sentiment coming off of the pinwheel. So I will adhere that first to those glue dots. Then I'm going to cut off the extra. And then I'll put a couple more glue dots onto the back. And now I can adhere the toothpick. So there is my pinwheel embellishment ready to go. And now let's put the card together. So I'm going to adhere these down using Tombow Mono multi-glue. I'm just going to put a little thin line of glue down the back of the toothpick. And then I can place that down exactly where I want it to be. And now I'm going to do the same thing with my little flags. Okay, now I do want to add just a couple more touches. So I used a dimensional in the center of my banner here, and I stuck down both ends with glue dots to kind of give it a little bit of dimension. I used one of the Naturals designer buttons for the center of my pinwheel, and then down here I created a little bow out of Lucky Limeade and Calypso Coral Baker's Twine tied together, and I just stuck that down with some of the Tombow Mono multi-glue to the toothpick that the pinwheel is on. So now here's my finished card. So thank you very much for joining me for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I will catch you again next time for another video. Until then, happy stampin'. Bye-bye.